Like I don't get a chance to always tune in on a Sunday, but just to hear Kyra's flow, the like a prophetic
amazing.
flow,
Yeah.
like there was nothing about the night that felt forced. I wasn't tired, even though I had to like drive back and forth. Like I didn't feel that burden that sometimes you can feel in a conference setting of too much. And so that's my take for Thursday.
And because you're part of the team, sometimes you can feel like I don't enjoy or really partake in everything that's happening because I'm aware of things that should be in place or, has to be. But I can honestly agree with you that this year it felt simple. It felt like it wasn't too much for the team. Yeah, it felt light. It felt like, okay, this feels good. It felt organic. That's a great word. Did you have a mic? Okay. Feels organic. I like
organic.
I like I like that. It felt organic. Anybody here? And all of you, please feel free.
For me, I think you kind of set the tone for the rest of the conference because you have me wanting to run around in that banquet hall, pulling my shirt up, showing my stretch marks.
Right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Because
That would've been a different
it would have been an experience for sure.
A little turn.
But because oftentimes as women, that's something that we want to hide. That's something we're ashamed of. That's something we want to cover up. But when sis came through and was like, I got stretch marks, and she said it where her whole chest, like you could just feel like all the rest of the women got them, like, I got stretch marks too. Yeah, like, and it just like took it away from not just the physical, but like all the different areas in our lives, right? Where we look back and say like, yeah, that was really a stretch for me. But it's a blessing that I have that because that stretch propelled me into this next level. It pushed me to a new height in whatever it is that I'm working on or focused on in that moment. So I think that, which I don't think anybody was expecting the word to be that. I got stretch marks. Like,
I didn't know where it was going to come from either. That's true. I thought rubber band. What she going to talk about rubber band?
Right.
We're going to talk about a little yoga. No, we don't do yoga. Sorry. We'll talk about that in another talk show. That's stretching, but no, and for someone, so I immediately, because one of the words you gave, had to do with the stretching of birthing something. And while I don't have children, I think about a weight loss journey where you have stretch marks because at one point you may have been bigger, but you'll see them more pronounced sometimes when you lose a certain amount of weight. So I was just like, I got stretch marks too because I lose a little bit of weight.
Yeah, like your stretch marks. Your stretch marks are almost like your roadmap to your next.
Ooh, I like that. That's
like
a
a
beautiful
roadmap.
way to look at them. Yeah, I would snap on that too. Yes. Use the mic.
I watched it. I wasn't able to physically attend, but
And you helped plan.
Yes, and I helped plan. But I love even how you spoke, the lady in the elevator. That to me was amazing.
Yeah.
Like she was meant to be there, and then even hearing like how she enjoyed, like this was where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So even knowing like before we were even there that it was planned for her to be there.
Miss
I thought
Mitchell,
that
what was her name?
amazing.
Oh, I can't remember. Mitchell.
But she lives in Co-op City,
Yes.
and her apartment was being renovated, and so they were literally paying for her to live at the NOMA, and she just happened to encounter a lady on the elevator.
She was on her way down.
Oh.
I guess she
Yes.
saw us all
Invitation.
going and saw some advertisement. So when I got on the elevator, I was like, oh, hi. And I was looking for B to go all the way down. She said, oh, you're looking for B? I said, yeah, I'll just go to one and walk down. She said, are you going to the service? And I said, yeah, I'm going to go. She said, it looked like it's going to be nice. I said, I think it's going to be. Yeah, I really think it's going to be nice. And we got in there, and I was like, it's my conference. She was like,
I'm
oh
the
my
founder.
God.
And yeah, I was talking to her on the elevator going up once the conference was done, and she was like, "Oh, I was really just trying to find somewhere to go. I was gonna go to like the bar or something.
Yeah, the lounge
And she's
and
like,
all
but
that.
then I seen the Know Your Worth conference. I was like, let me just go check it out. And
Yeah.
she said, I'm coming back tomorrow.
Yeah,
Like,
she was there.
really happy.
Yeah.
And blessed.
Say again? She came Saturday, but then she had to leave, I guess, to get things ready for her apartment. But it was really good for her to be able to come in. Sandy Mitchell, yeah.
Love you, Sister
If
Sandy.
you're watching, yeah, we love you, Sandy. Anybody else want to share about Thursday?
Get a box of tissue, please. That one was crying. A couple of days prior, I was asked, are you going Thursday, for the ride and stuff. So I said, no, I don't think I am. And then I said, no, go ahead. So I made sure I didn't have anything in the way. You going, Destiny, because the stretch that I needed came that night. I had Renee on the phone the whole time. And I said, Renee, I'm going to get somebody to pray for you. So I asked everyone to stand in line and pray and stuff. You didn't know Renee was on the phone. So the phone, I had the phone, so I wanted Renee to get prayed for.
Right.
So when I backed up, Coco said, where you going? And my head just went, no, just keep going, stretch forth. And that's what I did. But then Coco took the phone away from me, not knowing Renee was on the phone. And I was like, okay, I had to apologize to her and let her know what went down, but it helped me because then lady, you went and you prayed, and I felt it. It was awesome. I needed it.
Yeah.
I was so happy that I came, and it was just totally different from me from that day on into, yes.
I'm glad I took your phone.
Step by
That
step.
stretch.
That stretch.
That first
That
stretch.
I didn't
That's
get popped with the rope
awesome.
band yet, but that stretch. Yes, that was a
Oh, that's
blessing.
awesome.
Yeah, and I'm really glad I took your phone because it keeps bringing, I keep remembering me taking your phone. I knew someone was on the phone. I didn't know who it was. And that's why I didn't hang up or put the phone down. But I was like, I knew Destiny. I felt the stretch that you needed. And I was like, oh, no, you're not going to miss this moment. Because I felt like everyone who was in the room
Awesome.
needed
That's
to be in
awesome.
the room.
Amen.
Like every woman who was there needed to be there.
And can I just add, I want to piggyback. We always say that at meetings and stuff, right? I want to piggyback off of that. That's what Know Your Worth conference creates. It creates community within community within community. Like, she would not let you miss that moment. Didn't hang up the phone. She knew something was going on, but in that moment, it's like, I see you. I see what you, not so much as what you need, but I see that something's for you, and I'm not going to let you miss it. That's beautiful. Like, you could have easily just, turned the phone and been annoyed because you were in worker mode with the whole media and stuff like that. But that's not where that came from. It came from a place of community of, it's time for you to get your next stretch, like you just said.
That's good. Shan.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
So just to reiterate, I'm gonna say this. Lady should always preach because she should always preach at the conference. It's like I always tell her, I say, she be preaching. She be preaching.
Me, you be
all right? And that I got stretch marks really, it touched me like deeply too. And my aunt was able to come and join us
She had a
for the
great
first time.
time.
Did she?
Yes.
She's still talking about it now. Like, did she? And it was just a joy to see her enjoy it because she doesn't really go to church. I mean, she's saved. She loves the Lord. But she doesn't really go to church that often. So to see her and really enjoy it, it touched me. So, yeah.
Awesome.
And can I mention one thing? As you asked the question, I was thinking about what was happening before Thursday, like the week leading up to that day. And I knew I was talking to lots of women, lots of people, and a lot of people were like, I don't know if I should go. I don't know if I'm gonna go, and and I do believe that the people who pushed to get into that room, pushed to get into the conference, pushed to get stretched to get into that hotel, got a blessing because it was an experience like we were talking about. Like it wasn't just us being together.
Yeah.
It was a real fellowship.
Yeah. Agree.
To piggyback off of Mish, although I don't have kids, I do have stretch marks. Sometimes us as ladies, we go through the rhythm of life. We're busy, not busy, and then we stop to really look at ourselves. Where did these stretch marks come from? And then when you get to show them in front of other ladies, maybe you're going to the pool and you show your stretch mark, your response, if someone wants to say to you, oh, look at those stretch marks. For me, I now have the Know Your Worth Confidence Conference. So now my language will be different to that young lady or so.
Beautiful.
And then maybe that will help them to embrace their stretch marks. Because I'm not buying cocoa butter stretch marks removal lotion cream. I'm not. I'm just not. But it all depends on your response to your body. Thank you.
Oh, I like that.
Repurpose the stretch marks. Hallelujah.
It helps literally change our mindset that you didn't say just for me, but when I see someone else, that I don't give that negative response to your stretch marks, right? I'm gonna tell you now, this God gave me this, because I'm like, rubber band, like, you know, how can this word come so that it's impactful? And God he was like, you have stretch marks. And sometimes we don't want to look at our stretch marks. But when we take time to look at them, we're like, this is from my kid, this is from weight gain, this is from weight loss, this is from, all of those different things. So, amen. I'm glad that you have a different mindset for it.
I watched it probably I don't even know how many times I watched your sermon. But even listening, and she brought it up, how we like to remove our stretch. We will try to use things to remove them, but they were meant to be to grow us. So we should not try to remove the things that's going to stretch us to where we need to be. Like as I watched it, I was like, because I remember I used to try to buy everything to remove them because you are everything. But after listening to the sermon, they were was meant for me to be who I am right now.
They're reminders of what we've come through, how we've grown, how we've stretched to trust God and all of those things.
Yeah, so we don't try to hide the things that's meant for us to grow.
Amen. So anybody else for Thursday? So that was just Thursday. So then
Telling you, please register. Little commercial. Registration.
Yes. So before we move on, Know Your Worth Conference 2025. The experience. Super excited. Yes. Registration is available. We will add that to this live. But you can register right now for as little as $25 to hold your spot. The total registration up until October 1st is only $100. After that, it's $150. It's not going any higher than that. Why do you ask? Because we want you in the room. And we are not going to skimp on what we provide for you. We're not going to skimp on the quality of preachers and speakers that we have coming, but we just really want you in the room. So make sure you get registered before October 1st so you can get that $100 registration fee. Now you do have to pay for your hotel, but for registration, there are no other charges for that. Isn't that good? That's good. That's good.
But not push pay. What we do? What's the people that give us a chance to pay over time?
Afterpay.
We afterpay the world.
But we're using Brushfire. So with
Much
Brushfire, go ahead,
yes.
Robin. She's the.
So you can make your deposit and pay over time. But if you want to say, okay, let me just do the whole 100. Afterpay is available through Brushfire, but I mean you don't really need it because you can if you pay $25 now, you can pay as little as $5 a week and be paid off before the conference comes next year.
So you don't have to come up with, and as beautiful women, let's stop waiting until the last minute. Let's really plan out what we're going to do, especially because this is for you. This is an experience. And so we want you to invest in you. All right? Invest in you. I'm going to go ahead and say it. team that our theme for next year is her story. Her, yes, exactly. Her story, and we're so excited. And I got to say this too. You know that I shared that I watched the documentary Daughters, right, on Netflix. We watched the documentary. So we watched it. It's so powerful. If you didn't get a chance to see it, I'm really pushing it out there because I think it's healing. It kind of pulls up some stuff, but then you get healed too. And when I posted that, I just said, you guys should watch it. Well, one of the mothers from the documentary posted on my post. She said, "Hi, I'm Aubrey's mom." And then we had already said we're going to do her story. So we're going to reach out to Aubrey's mom. Come on, Aubrey's mom. To see if she can come to the room. And if not, we'll figure out how to record her and get her story. But we really want that level of sharing, that level of breakthrough, that level of, and I believe that God is going to bless and breathe on what we plan. We have an entire year to get that done. Isn't that exciting?
I believe
That's
because
exciting.
I really believe God is going to work this thing out. Only because she did not put a hashtag on that post.
Nothing.
She didn't draw anything to that post. Only watch daughters. She didn't hashtag daughters in her post. She didn't
Nothing.
hashtag anything. There was no hashtag. How did this woman find?
Just out of the blue.
Out of the
All I
blue.
did was type daughters and I put 20 crying emojis because it caught me. Like it was that powerful and that deep. Because it's not just about, I didn't think, girls who have fathers who are incarcerated, but girls who have any kind of dad issue. Great dads, not so great dads. And so it was really powerful. So her story, I'm super excited about that. And some of you in this room may be sharing your story one way or another. So Saturday morning, the awesome, the amazing Pastor Lachelle Bolton did our morning stretch. And this is our Friday, did our morning stretch. And this was our second year in a row doing this morning stretch. And what? How are you stretching and crying at the same time? And not that she was saying or doing, again, it's an experience. It has nothing to do with people laying hands on you or pushing you down or nothing. Just the serenity in the room, the worship music, the fact that you're just stretching your body and feeling God in the room. It was so, so beautiful. Go ahead.
And I love that it's personal. Even though it's a group of women, like the way Pastor Lachelle Bolton does it is just incredible. I truly believe she's anointed for that. And like each woman, like my mom was there, and we were at one point, and we were sitting in the chair, and everybody had their legs crossed over, and my mom was like, "Oh, I can't do that," but she did something else. Right. Like she did whatever she could in her capacity to still tap in and be a part, and just making sure that she was stretching forth. So I love that it's not just everybody's doing the same thing, or that you feel left out if you can't do a certain thing, because the atmosphere is so incredible. Yes, you're physically stretching, but you just go into this other place where it's not just about the physical stretch, and it's incredible. Like it's something that you literally have to experience for yourself to understand it.
Yeah, so powerful. So powerful. Anybody want to talk about that morning?
I mean, I know, so when Pastor Lachelle, Pastor Bolton, when she does these stretches, it's like early in the morning. Like, I don't know, it's like too early for me. You know what I'm saying?
What time was it? Like 8 o'clock? 7:30. 7:30.
So, it's like 7:30, but it's like you go downstairs and you're tired. You're still like, trying to get your eyes open and stuff. And then she's like, "All right, good morning," her voice, and she's just like, "Good morning, everybody," smiling. And she's like, "Okay, grab a chair." And then she's like, all right, now stretch. And it just like, and you just stretch and you release. And it's such a good feeling. Like, it really does open you up. And it teaches us that the stretching that we need is not, so on Thursday night, we're talking about spiritual stretching, but on like Friday morning, we're doing physical stretching. And I love the way we move, you know, in the way we, the way it transforms. And she just does it, and by the end of it, it's like, yeah, the tears are coming down. You know, she's like, breathe, drink water. And it just proves that, like, our body needs healing, and everything we're doing in the spiritual, our body also needs that, like,
And
physically.
to me, it connects with the thought that the Know Your Worth experience connects to the whole woman.
Yeah.
So like for me, as I'm physically stretching, I'm being reminded that I have to be physically in shape in order to stretch forth into doing what God is calling me to do.
True.
I can't, be all out of shape and taking 2 steps and huffing and puffing because I have work to do for the kingdom, and I have to physically be able to do that work.
Yeah.
And so I'm connecting the physical with the spiritual and learning how to balance and do both so that the work is effective.
Yeah.
And for me, it's a takeaway because from last year to this year, I noticed I had not stretched at all. Like even in working out or trying to go take a walk, like nothing in me from last year August to this year August said, Misha, stretch. But now this year, I took away something that I'm literally waking up in the morning like, all right, let's going over here, going over there, and doing something because I literally see like, sciatica nerve. I see my back, my spine, and wanting things to be aligned. And the Lord keeps ministering about how can you have the long life I've promised you in Psalms 91 and your body's not well.
That's good.
It does not feel good to not feel good.
Yep.
To wake up and something doesn't feel like there's an anger that sits on you. There's an irritation that sits on you. There's a disappointment about how did I get here? And is it reversible? And the Lord keeps saying, don't let it get too far. I've given you tools. Don't let it go too far. And I'm like, okay, God, I'm trying. No McDonald's today, you sure? It's getting a little expensive. You're right, God. I'm not going to go. But it's like little things, like get up now. My watch will do this thing where it means to get up and walk. And it'll do this little vibration thing. And so I don't want anybody to take the impression that we're trying to sell anything with Know Your Worth. You just got to figure it out, come experience it, and you will know that this is not a facade. We are not just speaking words. Like, there is really life-changing things happening. Like, she creates an atmosphere. Pastor Bolton creates an atmosphere where, although we're corporately together, I was by myself having my own moment. I went somewhere with the Lord in a stretch. Her playlist is fire.
I have it.
Oh, hold up, you got it?
$5. I asked her to
running.
share it, and she did. She shared it with me, so I will share it.
So good.
Great
so
playlist.
good.
Yeah,
Yes.
very good. Yeah. So after the stretching, we had breakfast, and then we came in for our first, we call them healing sessions, not workshops, because, again, we want to be intentional. And our first healing session was with Pastor Andrea Griffin. So are there any takeaways from Pastor Griffin? She talked about identifying what is withered, identifying what needs to be stretched, identifying what we need to stretch forth so that we can heal. So is there anything in particular? And we could talk about both of them, just in case, it's not something that's like right fresh on your mind. We had Pastor Andrea Griffin, and then we had Pastor Lachelle Bolton came back, and she talked about how to then actually stretch that thing forward. Again, I think another thing with Know Your Worth is We don't want people to come, nor do we want to be there and have all of these cute sounding things without real concrete ways to move forward, to know your worth. I don't want to ever go to a conference or workshop or whatever and get all of this information, but I don't know how to apply it to my life. I don't want to come to church and do that, to be honest. I want to have answers before I walk out, or at least suggestions on how to apply those things to my life. And so is there anything that stood out from those two healing sessions that you may want to talk about? Janice, you've been extremely quiet, and it's so unlike you.
You wasn't quiet at the conference.
Right here. Oh, okay.
Yes, her session, I came towards like the end, but it
Which
God
one?
met
I'm sorry.
Pastor Andrea Ricketts.
Okay.
And the withered part really got to me because you could ever be in a place where you feel like you had everything together, but you feel yourself slowly dying.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you said it's not a workshop, it was definitely a healing session.
Yeah.
Because as she's began to minister, I felt the withering like just die down, and then the life started to come back. And it started to grow. And you know, you never know. And you look at a person, you don't know what a person's going through, but because of that healing session, it brought back the life that was withering.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
That's good. That's good. There's a lot of time to have some self-reflection, right? And to really kind of look inward as opposed to, oh, so-and-so should have been here. I don't think anybody was really had that mindset. Like, I'm here to get everything that's on the table for me. And so, yeah, that's really good. What about you, Janice? I mean, I hinted. Now I'm just going to be very direct.
Emotional, y'all.
It's okay. You can be emotional if you want to.
For me, that's what this conference was about. This whole year has been about stretching. Even the stretching for me is just uncomfortable. I don't like change. So leading up to the conference, I did not want to go. And that's not usual of me. I'm very know your worth all the time. But life was just beating me up. And God was like, I need you to stretch.
Yeah.
It's imperative for this next season. So for me, the conference helped me stretch for this next season that I'm walking into, you know? So it helped me deal with all those parts that I'm trying to hide, those stretch marks that I want to hide. But now I wear them boldly on my chest. So, yeah, I got stretch marks. And what?
Yeah. And what?
Yeah, sign of something.
Yeah, that's awesome. Anyone else?
I believe it was Pastor Andrea. One of the points that really stuck out for me, she talked about sometimes things wither because we refuse to let them go. And so sometimes we complain and we moan and gripe and all this stuff because, this is dying, this is not working anymore in my life. But it's because we're not called to that anymore. But because we refuse to let it go and stretch forth, now we're causing things to wither in our own lives. So I thought that was powerful, just that perspective of it, to flip it and say, okay, well, what have I caused? Maybe what's withering is what I caused, and I can change that right now.
Right.
I can choose to stretch forth right now in this moment and just let that go.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say the same thing, but stretching forth, what I got from that weekend is that I'm personally dealing with an adult child and a teenage child who are stretching in their own journeys. And as a mother, me trying to allow them to stretch, walk the walk with them, but not block their stretch. And for most of you that don't know, like my adult daughter is my, I don't like, she's my stepdaughter, and she lost her mom early in the spring. And I realized that she was grieving, and because her mother didn't hold a lot of value in my life, I just, oh, she's gone, and that was it. You know, not knowing, right, not knowing that she, my daughter, needed me more than ever, and I've been allowing her space because it's like, oh, she's gone. Like, I really minimize that. And like, not so long ago, I had to call her and say, hey, are you okay? I just realized that you must be grieving. And she started bawling. She was like, I've been waiting for you to say this, and you don't understand, like, you're my person, and you haven't been there for me, and I'm waking up crying, I'm going to sleep crying, and it's like her stretch. And I'm sharing this to say that we all go through stretches, but in some time, it's like the Ruth and Naomi. Yeah. We need a Naomi and we need a Ruth, right? Yep. And so, like, in the stretch, we have to be mindful of who am I in this journey, and am I getting what I need while I'm doing it for someone else?
Am I getting what I need while I'm giving what they need?
Right.
Yeah. Because Naomi needed Ruth to push her to a place because she said, you know, I'm nothing. You might as well, I'm bitter. Call me Mara. Like, so much so that I'll change my name so there's no association to who I used to be. But then Ruth needed a Naomi to model before her how would you go through those things dying in your life and still trust and serve God, right? So finding that balance. Thank you for sharing that. That's really powerful, because the way we see ourselves in other people's lives is like, okay, that was an issue, but we're past that now, so let's really do this. But it's like, no, there's still very much a part of me. Help me to, and I love that she's like, you're my person. Like, I need you. And I feel like we all need a person. We all need a person. Yeah, that is good. Any? So,
especially in a season where social media and society is pushing not just individuality, but almost isolation. You got to take care of you. Self-care is everywhere, and it is necessary, because for a long time, we as a people didn't know that we deserved to have these moments and to live soft, but not to the extent where we forget that God created us for community. Yep. He created us to connect and to be able to be people's persons and to have people be our persons. And so there's like this big push to, like, you know, cut them off if you have to. Cancel culture. We're not going to tolerate nonsense and people doing things to harm us. But the reality is, what does God say about that relationship? Right. What is he stretching us to do in the relationship? Some of us are called to stay in some relationships that don't make sense to the outside world.
I was going to say, and Oprah went back home. That part in the text, she went back home because it didn't make sense. And Naomi even said, am I going to have more sons? Yeah. So you're going to wait around for me to get pregnant. Right. First, I got to find a man. Get pregnant, have the baby, he grow up, and then you're going to marry him? No. So allow Orpahs in your life to go home. It's okay. It doesn't mean that she doesn't love you. It means in that instance that she loves herself. And that's okay. We got to be okay with that.
Was to go home.
Yes.
That was her self-care. Right. And where Naomi, her self-care was to
Ruth, Naomi and Ruth. Naomi to go home and Ruth to go with her.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what they needed in that time.
Self-care. So when we say, that bothers me when people say self-care is like, oh, I got to isolate myself. I got to be by myself. For me, that's not like self-care, because most of my self-care
actually it's the trick of the enemy.
Yeah, I need my ride or dies. That's when my self-care. That, for me, that's a little bit different.
He wants to get you isolated so that he can devour you. And play with your mind and do all of those things. So we have to be very careful. And that doesn't mean that I need a whole entourage, but I can have my 2 or 3 who's gonna, help me get through that. Right?
sometimes you need a reminder of what withered in your life. And sometimes you need to be around a group of women that's okay with sharing that. And as she was preaching, I had to wake up in some areas. I don't get up as early as I used to. I still have the passion, but I don't get up early as I used to. Now that I'm at this conference, okay, what are you going to do now to go forward? Because you're around a group of women, you have some tools. What are you going to do now?
Right.
Now that you found what's withering. Because what's withering still has some life to it. It didn't die yet. So...
That's right.
Keep going.
Withering doesn't mean dead. It means dying.
And give up my plants. Them things be like,
Okay, I like that.
give a little water to that plant that look like it's on the edge.
Right.
Like it's the sometimes people, the birds of prey, which is one plant, but a smaller version is the peace lily. That thing will look like it is gone. Give it some water and come home and just be like, stop playing in my face, plant.
Yeah.
You got to live because I got you from my auntie's comb going. You're not finna die on me. Now get up. But you are so right. Just because it looks dead doesn't mean it is. Amen.
Any other takeaways from the actual healing sessions?
Self-care. I've always been there for everyone. Always, you have to do it. And now I'm saying to them, unfortunately, I have to say, if I'm not here, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? How are you going to take care of yourself? And I were a spoiler. And learning to take care of me, and as God's showing me, I mean, he had to put what I'm going through now to say, wake up, you can't do.
Yeah.
You can't be there for them. They have to do on their own. So that's something I'm working with God to show me how to do it.
Yeah.
To let go. I can't be, yes, I'm the mother, the grandmother, but you got to do on your own.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't think everyone realizes being a parent, you do have to stretch to let your children grow up. Like, I get frustrated when I see people saying, I'm not ready. I don't want them to go to college. I don't want them to grow up. Isn't that why you raised kids? And I'm not saying kick them out.
No,
I'm saying to raise them so that they are individuals in this world able to find their way and be there here and there to guide them, but not to do everything for them. I got a kid in 7th grade. His parents picked him up and was tying his shoes. What? It's okay, Mish. Okay, I saw your head whip around. It's okay. And so I don't think people realize, however, that that's a stretch. That this human being that I have been in charge of for all these years, to stretch them so that they get to a place is also a stretch for a parent and for a grandparent. Because, somebody on the bus was messing with Junie. I'm ready to go to the school. Because that's my grandson. So I'm still stretching.
It's about perspective too.
Absolutely.
Even in that, because my oldest daughter is in her 2nd year of college. I was like, yo, I'm excited getting stuff together because I had the perspective like, okay, I have to let her go. But now I'm going to sit back and watch everything God promised me come to fruition. I'm going to sit back and watch how God answered all my prayers that like, yeah, I did that. And not in a, boastful or arrogant way, because from the time I had her, I was only 20 years old when I gave birth to her. But I thank God that he gave me enough wisdom from the time she was born. My consistent prayer was always, Lord, give me the wisdom to train her up in the way that she should go. And as I had to let her go off to college, I saw, God, you did give me that wisdom because she's trained up in the right way. You've put the right people in her life to help raise her and train her up. And so it's a joy. It's like it's an overwhelming joy. Like, and because Christ is the center and you're able to look back and see when you let them go, that God has answered prayers and that he's keeping them, there is no worry. There is no, oh, I wonder if they're going to be okay. I wonder how she going to be. She going to be okay. And when it's not okay, it will be. And she going to figure it out because she has it in her and she got the right people around her to figure it out, you know, on her own. Not that she doesn't have the support, but we not quick to jump in and just solve it for her. And it's beautiful when you can switch that perspective of it.
And I see it too because I couldn't go to college right after. You know, there was nobody driving me to a dorm and buying, having a trunk party and all that. So my stretch was watching my children be able to do that. And live vicariously, but not in a weird way. To where like, move over, Kai, I'm going to sleep in your dorm room because I never got to sleep in one. Not that, no. We're not that crazy. But to be able, and to be in a position to provide for them and to give them the things that they need and they want for them to go and do that. So yeah, I get that. That's a good stretch,
I was going to share that my takeaway from the weekend is, and I don't know, because I think that when God has his hands on something, everything is so connected that you don't know who said what.
Very true. Because I'm struggling like, I know I heard it.
Yeah, I don't know who said it, but it was said. And at one of them, I remember like me having the difficulties of like childbearing. And so I equated for a long time that me not being able to have a baby meant that I wasn't a woman. Or, you know, I got married late in life, you know, like, you know, late according, like I became a mom at 37, I got married at 31. So it's like, am I ever going to meet my husband? Because being a wife is what makes me a woman. I graduated from college. I went on to, you know, grad school. Having an education is what made me a woman, and then like getting a job. Like, so all these little titles in my mind, that stretch was what I equated as what being a woman is. Meanwhile, I was doing all of this, but I wasn't taking care of me. I didn't know what self-care was, because self-care was that I needed to provide. I needed to take care of my mom. I needed to take care of my husband. I needed, like, all of that is what self-care, that it looked nice. So I think that for the weekend, it was just being able to invest in yourself. Being able to say, you know, the Know Your Worth is a weekend, and that I could set time where it's just me, not the mom, not the wife, not the director of a program, not the this, but that it's just what I'm giving Michelle, because Michelle needs these tools. And then when we see like the following year of the Know Your Worth, what came out of it? Because last year we were doing like, you know, like healing the inner child, and all these things came out, and then the following year is like stretching forward. Now that you know that you could tell your little girl, we survived, we did this. Now it's like, what's with her? What do we have to leave behind? And so all of that, like, as it's like scaffolding, right? We're building. We're building on ourselves. We're investing on ourselves. So like when we hear ourselves talk about being a mother and like what we pour in to our children, what are we pouring into ourselves? How are we taking times for like, you know, like movements that help us? Because this is what it's about, right? Because if I sit with Linda long enough, like, and Linda tells me her journey of what, yo, this worked, this didn't. You're getting something. And like I learned in the conference that not only inside those rooms, but outside, when you start hearing, like when we were doing the prayer boards, and you feel like that little girl, like you're doing arts and crafts, right? But you're talking to other people, or when you see people that you never see dancing, like hit the floor.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. But and she's taking the mic when we get there.
But that's what my takeaways from this Know Your Worth
I'm glad you
movement.
talked about the prayer board, because that was something we added this year. And it was something about sitting at a table, just picking out like, who was in here? Y'all was stealing all the beads and everything. But just there was a calm, there was a peace. I know that Miss Iris Hill was at the table. Is she watching? Hi, Auntie. Hi, Iris Hill. But just having casual conversation while you're putting together your prayer board and what cards do I want to put in and how do I want to decorate it, and everyone saying, oh my gosh, that looks so beautiful, look at this, look at that. We talked about Misha's. Misha, put some more stuff on there, sis. It was, your board was struggling for a minute.
Community to bring my board. It took community to bring my board together.
But you had the
Shout
speaker
out to the
for the
Glovers.
music.
I love you, Sade. I love you, Ma. They
Oh no,
helped me.
Marsha was doing all of
Marsha-
Can you write this for me? And she hopped right in. But the prayer boards was it's so beautiful. And when I walk in my room, in my office, and I see my prayer board and I kneel to pray, it's such a beautiful reminder that this was made in community, that this was made at a time when I went beyond what I was comfortable with and stretched, right? And so having those prayer boards, what a beautiful, we may need to do that sometime again this year or before the conference, just so everyone has an opportunity. Yeah, who had to?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Sarah.
Hi,
And I
Sarah.
have to leave soon, so I wanted to say a nice bye. But before I leave, I want to say that I wasn't there for your stretch conference, but me being here is me stretching.
Hey, that's right. I love that. Yes.
Thank you
I
for
feel
coming.
like I understood a lot that you guys said, like kind of wanted to be alone, and like, you know, that's kind of a self-care. I look at it that like, let me just be alone and let me be myself. But I feel like I said, that's like a devil trying to attack you when you're alone. So I need people that I know have that faith and can push me through when I can't push myself. So that's all I wanted to say.
That's awesome. Sarah, you got to be at the next one. All right? You got to be at the next. We'll make sure you're
Got
there.
a whole year to get coverage for
That's
them babies.
right. That's right. That's right. Anybody else want to talk about that?
So I didn't go to the prayer board party, but my roommate, one of my roommates did. And the what she came back with just made me think about how when we get together and we start talking about our aspirations and our goals and what we've been through and what we're gonna get through, like that prayer board, you get to put everything on it that you wish for yourself and to hold yourself accountable. And then when you do it in community, then you get other people to hold you accountable. And that's so important because it's not people saying, I don't think you could do that. That's not really for you. Like, that doesn't look right. It's people saying, girl, I can't wait till you do it. Like, I really have a faith with you to do that and to accomplish that. Like, I'm going to push you when you need to be pushed, and I'm going to hug you when you need to be hugged. But I'm going to be there for you. And, like, that's a beautiful thing. Like, even our sister who just spoke, she said, Sarah, she said she wasn't there, but she's here today, and she understands now what self-care is in a community. It's not to be alone, it's to be together. So that means the next Know Your Worth ladies chat, she's going to be here. You know, we're going to make sure she's here, and this is what this is all about. And, you know, Know Your Worth is, that's how powerful Know Your Worth is, because anybody could come in a room and feel that.
Yeah. Well,
I just want to clarify because
yeah, please do.
You being alone for self-care is not always the devil.
Right.
It depends on you individually. Self-care is different for everybody. I do a lot. So sometimes I enjoy being in my house by myself. Nobody else home. Like, yo, Will, take the girls, y'all go somewhere, leave me here by myself for a couple hours. I want to kick my feet up and watch a movie all by myself. That's okay.
My alone self-care is like literally walking around Walmart for just hours by myself.
Right.
That's
So
it.
I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah.
That if that can be your self-care.
Well, let me
Everybody's is
add,
different.
for even more further clarity, that when you are always saying, I need to be by myself, when you are always feeling, I need isolation, that's when the enemy can attack. It does not mean that. Yeah, so thank you for
And
that
I think
clarity.
it's a matter of just digging deeper, because we're going to clarify all the way. There will be no reason for anybody to not know by the time we leave what we're clarifying. Motivation. What is the motive behind why you're doing what you're doing for self-care? we always have to check the intentionality and the motive of why. Because if the motive is, I'm sick of y'all and I want to isolate, that's different than I just need y'all to get, because we give our lives in what we do for a living. We're constantly take it in as containers, so we need moments to be able to pour back out as school social workers, right, or as any capacity, nursing, whatever our capacity is, office. If you are constantly receiving, where do you put that stuff? When do you have the time? And so I have to check myself, because there was a season where my motive was to just be by myself. And the Lord is just like, but I didn't call you to self. I called you to me. And where am I? Last time I checked, when a big fat check or somebody blessed me, it was never out the clear blue sky. Someone was used to be the blessing, to be the conduit, so to speak, for me to get the opportunity, to get the job, to get the money, to figure it out. Somebody is always a body, and it starts in Christ. So I'm always checking my motives. Misha, why you don't want to go? That color party, I was exhausted on Friday, but nothing could stop me from putting that little pink shirt I found on Amazon to get here, because I know you guys know how to do community.
It was amazing.
So fun. I don't mean to go off the deep end, but just please pay attention to the page. Another commercial. Pay attention to KCCC's page, because there's so much going on that fosters community in this house. And it creates community for those of us who bring community right back to where they go.
That's right.
I get to bring community back to my church. I get to bring community to my job. The kids were asking me today, did you have fun at your color party? Your flat ironed hair looks good. Because I told them I'm flat ironing my hair for lunch because I'm going to a color party. The teacher said, can I see the pictures? Yeah. Community. Because guess who I'm inviting? That teacher's coming to the next, whatever.
That's right.
That's community, and that's what Know Your Worth creates. So self-care can be, but what is the motive? What is the motive of the self-care?
That's good. So let's move right along, right? After the prayer board time, we had some free time, right? Some of us left, some of us went swimming, some of us broke a toenail. I was like, how, Nicole? I was by myself. No, okay. But then we had, and some people are just like, I don't understand this part of the conference, of the experience, that we have a party. Music, food, we have a DJ, just lots and lots and lots of dancing. And I have to tell you that to me, this was like the next level of a healing session. Because in that room, there were women who danced, who were free, who were dressed up, had heels on, because that's how they wanted to come in. But I was so blessed watching the women who I know their story. I know that it was even tough for them to get in the room. But they danced and they did all kinds of fun stuff with people. And so, I'm going to ask, just share your experience. And she wasn't the only one, but she's in the room.
The representative thereof.
Don't start.
Yes.
Use the mic, though. I am. I'm a shy person. And don't
You wasn't
sit
shy
like
on
I
that
am.
floor, but go ahead, sis.
Lady. I really am a shy person. I stay to myself all the time. So that night.
But you are one of the most loving.
Thank you so much.
But I think we
appreciate
were
it.
able to see that
Yes.
night. Okay, go ahead.
So I usually stay to myself because I'm sort of kind of a loner, but not really. Because of my background, my education and stuff like that, I don't like to be around people too much when they do certain things. So that night I had a couple of friends. One of the young ladies I knew, we grew up in Slow Bump together, and we always joke around. So when we were joking around, she was like, Thelma, I just want to see you shake. I was like, get out of here, Claudia. I said, Claudia, leave me alone. I said, you want to see me shake? I said, no, you get up and shake. And she was like, no. I was like, you know what? And as soon as I heard a song that I like, it was over after that.
It was over.
I had a good time.
First
I
of
just
all,
stretched. I really
the
had a good
women
time.
at Know Your Worth, they love Biggie. And you can't tell them nothing about DMX.
And you better not try.
The moment they came on, And so how did you feel?
I just felt like having fun, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just felt like everybody in the room was enjoying themselves, and I felt like everybody in the room always see me quiet and laid back. I said, I'm just going to show them a side that they've never seen before, and I really enjoyed myself.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
When Pastor Bolton was preaching, I had to go upstairs because my children was enraged, and I was upstairs trying to pray and take them through and try to make sure they didn't kill each other. When I got downstairs, I was like, oh my God, they made me really miss my experience. But I said, you know what, God had me go upstairs to pray for them so that I can get downstairs and felt what I felt afterwards. And God really blessed me, but he really made sure they didn't kill themselves that day.
But I will tell you, I think I had just finished preaching. I was sitting there and I looked at the door and there was a man about 6'7". And Thumb was like, I don't care what you say. You're not opening this door until the offering is done. That was the hotel security. She was like, no, you're not moving. We were talking to him upstairs. His name was 12, I think, whatever. But I was like, I guess you met Deacon Thelma. Right. But lots of food and dancing and a really good time. And I just love that women can get up and dance. You don't have to have no man there or whatever. Yes.
Yes, when I saw the joy and the smiling, all I heard was freedom. Freedom. You know, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it was just a sense of freedom for every step moved, for every knee bent. It was just amazing to see women and not in no judgment, no judgment zone. Not look what she has on, or she can't dance. No, we were having fun. We were just a community of women that's having fun and knowing our worth.
I love that. Yes.
I enjoyed Sister Minister Janelle, because I'd never seen her dance or anything.
Yes.
And
damn video.
No.
Oh, yeah, I'm the star.
I was like,
I'm the star.
No, she really is.
I really am. I'm the star.
Dancing with the stars.
I was saying, I was sitting down at the table with Janelle, and she was just sitting and a song came on, and she's like, I'm like, it was just and within seconds, she was on the floor. It was over. She didn't sit again.
I have to honestly say that at all the parties, because we've been doing Know Your Worth parties for a few years, but we just incorporate it now into the experience. But most of the songs, I have no clue. I've never heard them. And I say, I must have been in revival. I was at the church because I don't know these songs, and y'all know all the words.
I know them all.
And so for those of us that know all the songs, it's refreshing to be in a setting where it's safe to listen to them, if that makes sense. And I know for somebody out there, they're getting ready. Right.
Like, we're not
never crazy. So we don't want anybody to think that it turned into the Palladia or anything. Right. It was not the Palladia. It was not school 12 parties, y'all, because y'all know. It wasn't that. But the reality is that we love the Lord. We're Christians. However, he said, come freely, enjoy. He gave us joy in this relationship. And so to go through all those moments of stretching and healing, and we're crying because it's not about crying, but we are releasing. While we're in the sessions, we get to take this break, and then we get to come in our best. Some people come in some jeans and a cute top. Others put on a gown with heels. It's about being able to show your personality and just showing up. And it's a beautiful, beautiful moment. And now here's another commercial. Please don't put anything else on your schedule, because I had to leave and I missed the party. I was watching Christina and Norman. Hey, boo boo. I was watching her stories like a hawk. I was just like,
she was showing her feet.
My girl. And it was like to know that she pressed, and she wouldn't mind, like, she pressed, dropping her son off to college, trying to make sure he was well. It was a stretch, I should say, for her to be in the room. And she said literally when she came into the room during the second session, she heard exactly what she needed to hear about your child going off to college. She needed that word to be able to release. And while she's still stretching through that, she was able to hear that. And then for her to stay for the party, because we best friends for a reason, because we want to be home by 6:42. Like, the sun don't beat us home. We on a marathon every day. But to know that my friend stayed so that she could enjoy the party and then came back the following day, I'm just like, yeah, know your worth. Yeah. Know that you are worth it. And so for me in my house, I speak to my family, but not nobody transition. They better not die. They better not do nothing. I need to be at Know Your Worth the whole weekend. I'm sorry my cousin passed away, so he's in glory. I got joy about it, but y'all better not do nothing. I'm talking to them because they watching. Y'all better stay put, because I got to be at Know Your Worth.
She said what she said.
Meant it.
So after the party, great time, food, all of that. It's the stuff that is not on the schedule that I really love. Because the connections, I don't know, 20 people walk to McDonald's and CVS. But it's just that kind of fellowship. People that, I'm not going to make you take the mic, sis. I don't want you to be their spokesperson, because I know who the ringleader was, and she lived in my house. But to see women who may not otherwise ever have an opportunity to talk, to go be together, to do fun things, making those core memories, right? You're never gonna forget that at your first Know Your Worth conference at 3 a.m. I was at McDonald's. Yeah, in the sticky bouncy house, whatever. So the next morning.
Can I just mention?
Oh.
I'm sorry. Can I just speak on that? Right. It was.
Give too many details,
I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not.
All right.
However, it was just like a spirit moment type of thing. Like, I just was surprised. And it was just, everybody's like, okay, we're going to go upstairs to our rooms and go to sleep. No, I'm going to get changed and go get some fries. So it was like, well, she's not going to go by herself. So, you know, we started the night together. We're going to end the night together. And that meant, you know, getting our fries and, you know, bouncy houses and all that stuff. But, you know, like you said, it was a core memory. Like, no one's ever going to forget that. I actually posted something in about that tells that I was there. But what I'm just saying is that I posted something, and I posted a picture, and like 3 of the sisters were like, I see me in the background. So it's just a core memory. It's really sweet.
I was trying to go to sleep, and I don't know why I put on the first 48. I don't even watch that show. And I heard my roommates come in. I don't even know what time it was, and I said, it was still dark, and I was like, hello? And there was no answer, and I said, here it goes. They're going to get me tonight. Verse 48. Lord, I hear you. I'm ready if you coming to get me, because I don't hear nobody, but I know I heard the door open. I said, Mom, we came in here a couple times. You was snoring. I said, oh, okay.
So that Friday night, I realized that I'm no longer the auntie from 10 years ago. Because it was like, auntie, you coming? I said, okay, yeah. And then there was an opportunity for me to go away, go get in my bed.
Up.
I was like, yeah, I'm going to be right back, okay? I'm going to be right.
Yeah.
I saw them the next day.
We gave a new auntie. The new auntie took your spot.
The new auntie.
She's a mic.
One of the new aunties, and Sister Pooh is the other new auntie. Yes. Them is they took me in Pam's place.
Yes. Yeah. It was healthy fun though. Like
right.
42, and I don't remember the last time that I ran to McDonald's at 3 a.m. because somebody screamed out, "The floor is lava." Oh, I'm out. Okay, it was fun, and I had my little cousins with me, and they had a great time. My other older cousin, she said, I see y'all later. But it was just a community. It was just really, really fun.
Yeah.
It was the release that we needed. And just thinking about the conference, and it's a recipe. Everything we did, it all needed to be mixed together. The healing sessions, the party, it was just, it was all needed. And for me, I spent a lot of time taking care of my grandma and my mom,
Yes.
and just not taking care of me. And when I invited my cousins, I was so worried about them not having a good time that I wasn't stretching. Like you said, your mom had to do her own stretch. I was trying to stretch and take care of them, and I didn't get to receive anything that I needed. And when I seen that these ladies took care of my cousins, it was a release for me, and I was able to get what I needed.
good.
And they all got what they needed, and they're registered, and they're coming back
That's right.
2025.
Give the Lord a praise. It had the ED on it. Registered. Rabakisenia namaste. Ooh, that thing got in my spirit. I'm sorry. But I want to play the forest lava with the adults too.
Yes.
I have to play with the kids. I want to play with the adults. Holmes family, I'm not playing
Bishop
with y'all.
talked about that Tuesday night about fellowship, like fellowshipping the ministry, like fellowshipping, not necessarily in these walls. And I think for a few of the women that went to know your for the first time, they were able to fellowship and see us outside of the walls of kingdom. So, and it was a really, because it was like, oh. And then it was just like like, okay. Because it was like, oh, okay, I'm here. Okay, I'm in the room with Robin. Okay, and it was like, oh, okay, but why are you on the floor? Okay. So yeah, it was like,
Sister Michelle Cotton, she was just like, I ain't come here for none of this. She just kept saying it. But she started to take it in. And she left there with some homework assignments. Yes. Like there's some things in your house you've got to start moving with and stretch forward. And every once in a while now I'll check out and she was like, I hung up the pictures that I won at the silent auction. I opened this up. My bathroom is done. So it was a stretch for her. Again, everybody had to stretch in their own way. And I think it was so beautiful to have just those conversations and be able to,
I was gonna say that mine is quick. While everyone, like whoever went to McDonald's, I was happy that I slept in a bed all by myself, that I could just sleep. I stretched the entire night. It felt so good.
Same.
So everyone got what they needed. And that's the moral of the story.
My stretch this year, because I never lived alone. Never. Somebody was always in the house, lived with me. I never lived alone. So when I started being alone, I felt alone. So I would always lock myself in my room from outside the living room and all that, and I would stay in the room, like when it's time to go to bed. So my stretch this year was to paint my room, which I got it painted all white. I don't sleep with the door locked anymore. Amen. I hang my pictures up too. So that's my stretch this year.
Beautiful. Know your worth got us painting walls and unlocking doors. Hallelujah.
From being alone so long, it's different when you live in the house with a bunch of people and all of a sudden everybody's not there anymore. Yes. And you don't have that loudness and it's quiet. I thank God for my peace, don't get me wrong, but it just was a struggle a little bit.
Real.
Trying to be alone
adjust to that,
and just to be with Thelma and not with no one else.
Come on.
So,
And I feel it with more people because I have a family member where somebody has to come stay with me. Right. So thank God that you're in a place in your stretch where even when it gets lonely, Holy Spirit is the very present help. And we're never by ourselves. But the reality is sometimes it does feel like that. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that's good.
I want to say that when you say somebody was crying and say they didn't come for this or they didn't, okay. So I think a lot of, I don't know. I wasn't even there.
Devil.
But the thing is that a lot of people think it's a service, so when they come, they like, wow, they can say, oh, wow, so the experience that the women getting now is definitely I'm not gonna say out of character, because like I say, they think it's a service. I even one point there was a service one time, and then I was like, well, this is cool. Yeah. So thank you for changing the whole atmosphere of Know Your Worth and even all the events that we have. Yeah, we could relate to that.
Yeah.
You know, even
Well,
the
that's
little
why
thing.
we want more women to understand that it's not just I'm going to service and somebody's gonna push me down. Yeah, I don't know, whatever people think the service is. Yeah, I gotta wrap up in sheets and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, we have all of those moments, but we have a lot of time. We purposely schedule free time because I don't like being in conferences where it's back to back to back. I can't breathe. If I go to the restroom, I done miss something. So we purposely schedule some downtime and just some opportunities. Again, you hear about the fellowship and all that. That's all very important. I thought you were going to say something. Yes.
I remember when Know Your Worth just started, and I would always allude to you and say, this is different. I've been to many conferences because I was born in church.
Yeah.
So I've been to church where you have to wear a two-piece suit with shoulder pads, and you had to wear, nothing's wrong with that. However, this is definitely a different experience. And I really appreciate it because I got my sense of freedom back.
Amen.
So I'm
Amen.
grateful.
Amen. Thank you.
I think just being a part of the team, I'm about to cry like, oh, Mr. Hold on. They changed that date till next year. I'm beating. I'm already registered. But I think for being a part of the team, as we sit and we talk, what I love about our CEO is that she wants to minister to the whole woman. Mm-hmm. There's not one part that we don't try to think of. So you're not just crying. You are laughing. You're doing whatever needs to be done to heal you whole. And I just love the fact that is who you are daily. And you're appreciated for that because it's not just one part of a woman. You want a whole woman. And this is what is and it's growing and it's growing. And I am so grateful to be a part of the team.
It shows that I can love Jesus, I can serve him with my whole heart. That doesn't mean I have to be a cornball.
Right.
That's it. I can still be me. I can still be fun and be appropriate. It doesn't have to be so serious and, robotic.
Right. That's right.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
So, the stretching, it made me realize a lot. It took me back, because I'm a thinker. So, when I got to that point where everything was about stretching, it's like God took me back and showed me all the times he stretched me. And I learned that all the growing pains, even now, is a stretch. And it's like I was always so used to looking at stretching from a physical, but it's like there's the mental stretching, there's the spiritual stretching, there's the environment stretching, there's the friends, there's the relationship, there's the finance, there's a lot that goes into stretching. And I learned that the stretching is not supposed to be comfortable. It's not supposed to feel good, but it's necessary. Yeah. And once you get to a place where you're stretching and it doesn't hurt, that means it's time to stretch again.
Yep.
And it's for me, it was God is you're stretching, but I'm helping you stretch. Yeah. You're not doing it within your own strength.
Right.
And when you try to do it in your own strength, it hurts even more. You
injure yourself, right?
It just took me back to, I was like, oh, snap, God, you were doing all of this?
Yes.
Because, and sometimes I have a tendency to overthink. So, once I understood, once I got there and I got through that experience, it showed me even more of what God has been doing for me. Yeah. I think we get so caught up in what we want him to do or what he did recently, but we don't think back to 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, or even when you was a child. Everything's connected. So it just took me back to God showed me I've been carrying you and I'm going to continue to carry you, and you have to be willing to stretch, because as soon as you're not willing, there's no stretching.
Right. And I think you said it. There's injury. When I don't want to stretch, I can injure myself. I can pull a muscle. I can overextend something, and then I'm hurting. So then I can't even hurt from the actual stretch. I'm hurting from trying to deny the stretch, trying to negate the stretch. So that's very, very, very important.
And I'm sorry, one more thing. And I also learned that the stretch is not just about you. It's not just about
It's
you.
not.
So I learned that. But yeah, that's one.
Amen. Thank you, Talia. It's on you.
Oh, it's on me.
Yeah.
Whew. So, injuring something, yourself and someone else. Like I said, I took care of my mom and my grandma till they died. I was there when they both passed away. So I was just used to stretching to take care of somebody else. And I started to take care of my son. He's 6'2", size 13, and I would mind your business. And I was just doing too much where he was stretching in another direction and growing. And I used to drive him to school, and I was worried about him getting back and forth to school, and just I needed to do everything for him, but I'm stretching and I was injuring our relationship because I wouldn't let him go and stretch on his own and build his own muscles and his own strength and learn on his own. And I was just so worried, but I let go. The conference, I started to ease back, and I mean, he done joined 4 basketball teams on his own without me, and I'm like, what, how'd you do this? How'd you meet these people? Who are they? He's like, I got this, man. I'm like, stretch, baby.
And he has like a little business.
And he has a business. Listen, this boy went on Temu and ordered eyelashes and started selling them at his school.
That's right. The girls is in the bathroom lashing it up in the bathroom.
Yes. He got it. Go ahead.
I think it just goes to show also that when you physically stretch and you're in the Lord, you have to stretch your faith as well. Because like with my daughter, there's some things I'm like, oh, nope. And he's like, but I gave her to you. Like, you trust me. Why not trust me with everything that has to do with her? So stretching forth physically, you have to stretch forth spiritually.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Shifting this atmosphere in here now. I can't breathe. The elevation.
Oh, right here.
Can I say something? The thought dropped in my mind that, like, if I'm in my kitchen and I'm cooking and there's an item up in the cupboard that I can't reach. So what I'll do is, I'm 4'11", so, I'll start by getting on my tippy toe to see if I can reach it.
Okay.
If I still can't reach it, I have a short stool that I stand on. So with the stool and still on my tippy toes, if I cannot reach it, I'm still stretching. If I can't reach it, I go in the drawer and I get those tongues.
Yes, I use the tongs all the time.
On the stool, tippy-toeing with the tongue.
Yes.
To pull out the item that I'm trying to get. So sometimes there are different layers of stretching for that one thing that you're trying to attain. It's not just stretching once and you've got it. It's different levels. It's figuring out different things to get what it is that you need. The other thing that I thought of was the woman with the issue of blood. I'm sure she was not passively just, trying to get through the crowd. Pardon me, excuse me. I got to get to Jesus. She was stretching, and I'm sure while she was on her knees and going through the crowd, she was stretching. And even as she got closer, she was stretching more to see if she can reach him until she got to that last inch that she stretched, and she was able to, touch the hem of his garment. So that dropped in my mind, speaking of stretching.
If there's one, do you know Jesus?
I wanted
will
to
there
say
be one? We are on one accord.
something that Talia just said, how when she was saying that stretching hurts, and so the weekend was what's withered, right?
Yeah.
So growing pains hurts, but not stretching withers, right? You wither, and that is just as painful. And I shared with a few people how, like, since Friday, I've been having this pain on my side, and it's painful. I'm come to the conclusion that God gave me that so that I could get some empathy because my husband's going through some issues. But the pain is because I'm not stretching physically. Like if there was a time that I was waking up and I would go into like my prayer area and I would stretch and I would put music, like there was a whole thing. And I was waking up and I was like the whole day I was feeling better, and I've stopped. And like I noticed like either my feet hurt or my back hurts, and it's like you would wither, and that is just as painful. It's actually annoying.
Yeah.
It's annoying. So it's like it's a constant reminder that there was something that you were doing at one point that you knew was helping you get to a next level, and you stopped doing it. So it's like this constant annoyance of you either being disobedient, of you not taking care of yourself, of you not taking that time for you. And so like this is what that, like I was just talking to Elder Lopez, and I'm like, it's like this thorn. God is reminding me of something that I, along the way, have stopped doing in this season. And this is my reminder. Yeah. You know, and it may seem like it's stretching, but it's more than, there's some things that I was doing while I was stretching that I stopped doing in this season. And when we want more, we have to be aware, is the pain because I'm growing, or is the pain because I'm withering away?
Good.
So you have to be honest with yourself in this season, because this that happened this weekend, it wasn't just for us to take it and then just say, okay, now next year what? Right. This is for us to take what is it that what was ministered to us individually. Like one thing that I got is that journaling.
Yes.
Like when you pray, you know, you journal and you pray and you don't know what comes first, the chicken or the egg. Right. You know what I mean? You just know that there's a circle there that needs to happen so that you can move forward, so that you could grow. So that's my takeaway. But also just as I'm sitting here is just learning to discern, are you withering? Is that the pain, or are you stretching? That's good. Because there's a good pain and then there's an annoyance pain. Recognize. You better recognize.
Yeah. So on Saturday, we had some self-care time together. And the Lord literally gave us a ram in the bush. Tell me her name. Karina, absolutely amazing. She has the skin studio. Some people have already booked with her. They're going to go see her. But she came and she answered every question these black and brown women had concerning their skin. And when she said, don't use CeraVe or Dove soap, I thought there was going to be a riot in the room. Because you don't tell black women that you can't use no Dove soap. But she was so good, so open, stayed, gave people, she did a full facial. We had Pastor Andrea did Roxana's makeup.
So beautiful.
We had Beatrice, Ginger. I knew her from high school, so she did some hair care and gave us information about hair care. Shay talked about some products. It just ended up being this perfect morning with Dr. those.
I saw
Dr. Isha made a guest appearance, helping us with some things, and so it just turned out to be a really good, lots of good takeaway in terms of our personal care. Anybody want to talk to those things?
When I was speaking to Karina, that's her name, Karina, right? You know, she was just very filled. Just by like seeing the woman that walked in the room, she was just like, oh, this is so good. Like, this is wonderful. And, you know, she does a lot of things in the community and she helps out in different institutions and stuff like that. And she was just saying like, no, this is really, really wonderful. And I was blessed to see her blessed because like she was able to be in the room where she can talk to us, you know what I'm saying, and give us the information she gave us. And, you know, some of it we took and some of it we didn't because, you know, we're all different. But at the same time, she was just like, yeah, there's some things that's just a certain no-nos. And there's some things like, okay, if it works for you, then that's good. You know, I just love the fact that it was diversity in the room. I love that.
The questions that were there, I enjoyed. Some of the women were being very transparent.
Yeah.
You know, they were sharing, like, just like when we spoke about hair, Like someone was like with the alopecia, like they were boldly like using themselves as a testimony how they're wearing their hair the way it is. But like the testimony, the transparency, but then the education that came from Karina on how we could correct certain things and what we could do. You know, like I have oily skin. But like when she spoke to me one-on-one, it's like, you shouldn't thrive to have dry skin either. You know, like some of the things that I do is to prevent like all these, and some of the oil is good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like the misconception of like, you know, me looking like a shiny.
Yeah.
But you know, like
But
the education.
Yeah, I loved that. Even though they did presentations, everyone took time if you wanted to have not a full consultation, but some one-on-one. But she was looking at people saying, yeah, you're using this product and that product, and that's why your skin is like that. That's why you're dried out. That's why you're, you know, right. And so I would love, we'll share her information. Maybe we can kind of bombard her one day and just be a blessing to her. She gave away product. Everyone was really, really, yes. Everybody was really good.
I think she followed some of us.
Yep.
Because I think I was tagged in something, and I said, wow, like I wasn't even there, but you're bringing your information to me. So I was able to follow her, and she followed me back, and like engaging. And so you can appreciate that. And like
she goes to Rikers Island and teaches the girls there about skincare. She's awesome. She came, you know her, right? Or she was referred. Okay.
And I made a phone call. My niece called her, and she was just so grateful. She wants to come to Know Your Worth 2025.
She does. She'll be there. And I even said to her, you know, do you think you can bring a team of people and people can pay for the services? And she said, unfortunately, she's really the only one who will come and educate without this enormous amount of money you have to give her. So we'll pray that the Lord will change the hearts of those people so we can be a blessing. We ended the conference with an awesome luncheon. And again, the last time we were able to talk to each other and share, and people exchange information. The food was good. And that was a wrap. Know Your Worth Conference Stretch Forth 2024 was absolutely amazing. It was intentional and it was simple, but it was amazing. And I just want to thank everyone, first of all, for coming tonight and sharing your experience. And I hope that we've encouraged someone at home to get registered for next year. And I hope that you're all encouraged to bring some people with you next year. And, you know, we want to get you guys registered as well. So don't just think about people out there, but we want you to get registered as well. So you're there, and encourage people to come who think that Know Your Worth is just like any other women's conference. It's not. All you have to say is it's an experience, and you need to be in the room. All right, Robin, you gonna?
I think adding the silent auction this year was...
Silent auction was awesome.
It was amazing.
Pictures and all kinds of mattress, a basket, all kinds of really nice stuff. So
it was that heated blanket with the mattress cover. Yes.
Yeah, that was really nice.
I thought that through.
All right. Do we have anything else? Yes.
Everything was easily accessible.
Yes, it was. It was a great. Not Taco Bell. Oh my God. She got a map of the city. We are working on solidifying, but we are all leaning towards NOMA. It was a modern place. It was simple. It was lively. And so, yeah. Pray with us.
Because it's an investment, another commercial, because it's an investment, please don't look at the price as a discouragement point. You can go into a room.
$100 is not, just shouldn't be disparaging.
No, it's not the registration, it's the hotel.
The hotel.
Don't look at the hotel fee, because yes, you're paying $100 for the registration, but we believe God for favor, and that could bring the number, because we might try to compare it to the Stanford numbers, or somebody might say, oh, I got an auntie that'll let us go up the hill to Executive Boulevard, but we can't have a conference there, sweet peas. So we have to go. And the convenience of it being in New Rochelle allowed those of us that can drive back and forth to drive back and forth. So it wasn't that much of a hardship. Somebody might say I'm lying, but I can only go by my experience.
No, it's true. A lot of people were happy that they were able to drive back and forth. However, I will say, if you're able to stay, please. I don't care if you got to sleep on the floor. Some
And you have a year.
Because there's some things.
You know,
Okay,
start putting $25 a month to the side now
for your
And
hotel.
just, you know,
This is
put
what
your
I was
envelope
saying.
hotel.
Like,
That's a really
my
good
girlfriends
idea.
and I, we travel a lot, but we ain't got money like that. But we have like one person, the treasurer, or that we put money on this one card that we pay off our trips on this one card. So when we go, here, boom, this is the card for the hotel. So you know what it
That's
is.
such
So
a
it's
good
not
idea.
a lot. It's not a last minute
You said
thing.
that you do a chime.
Yeah, we have a chime card.
A
Yep.
chime
and we put
card.
the money on the chime card, and we just use that.
So each
Pay for
month,
our-
everybody put whatever
Yep.
you're supposed to
Yep.
until you have
Yep.
the money. I love that. That's such a great idea.
Beds are big enough for two to sleep together, and the reality is we've done it before.
Right.
We have.
Don't be ashamed to room with
Think of your
somebody. My
cousins.
favorite thing to say, and I'm gonna say it appropriately. We all have the same thing, different sizes. It's okay if you need to be by yourself, then pay the price. But the reality is, it can be community in a room. We don't spend much time in the room anyway. We're
don't.
doing stuff. We're with each other, and so
But it's
please.
it's the experience 2.0 in the rooms. That's when it happens in the room.
It's
I walked in the room. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put my Baptist finger up. I just came to get my pocketbook. All right, I'm out. Y'all finish your session. But yeah, it's too
And if you treat the room like a dressing room, right? Because that's what we really use it for. Everybody puts their clothes up. They bring out the iron, bring out the steamer. We get the curler iron up, everything like that. Then, 6 people to a room is nothing.
Decide to not, there are some pros and cons, right? So you're saving money by not staying in the room, but you're also either late and you miss a part of what you need to get. So like if you're there, you're just there. You're just taking the elevator to where you need to go to. So I do encourage for all of us to like take our time, like, save for it and invest. Because like I said earlier, this is knowing your worth is saying, I deserve this. I'm worth it, right?
It's an
So
investment.
it's an investment, yeah.
To stay in, right?
Yeah, we had a room block.
We had a room block.
And then you have to abide by the times that are given. So if they say the block ends in a week, you have to get registered before that time, or you're going to go back to the regular hotel rate, and you're going to pay much more. Yeah, you just hold it.
I always say, book your room. It's easier to cancel at the end than to try to scrounge for a room at the end.
Know your worth is an experience. And if you know me, it's an experience to be not a mom, but Janice.
Go ahead. No, keep going.
Okay. So pay for your room. Listen, the Lord will make a way somehow.
Well,
Okay? Unless the Lord tells me don't go, I will be there.
Amen.
Praise the Lord.
Literally, we have a whole year. If I'm no longer, thank God, I was a smoker at one point, right? No longer that. If I could spend $10 or they probably 20, I don't even know what they are now, on cigarettes, and we can do it. If you are I am literally one that will divide it by how I get paid, and that's what I'm saving, and we have a year to do it. Invest in you and know you're worth it. That's what it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we have a question coming in from Facebook. Yes. Uh-huh. Hi, Facebook. Say hi to Facebook. Hey, y'all.
Teresa Odom Surgic. Is there information for next year? I'm going to see if there's someone I can travel with.
Awesome. She's
Yes.
from Albany. Yes.
Yes, Teresa, we will share out the link for registration. The dates for next year is August 14th through the 16th. And we'll share out the link for registration shortly.
Awesome.
And as far as hotel accommodations or anything like that, please keep your eyes to the Alonda Hassel Facebook page, or anybody that you may know that you're following that is a part of the congregation here or related, like myself, because I'm a family member too.
Yes, you are.
We'll be able to get that information out. But right now, what's imperative is the $25 down to hold your registration, and you'll be able to pay over time for it to be $100, and that ends October 1st. So please snag that price.
$150. And that's the highest it's going.
The highest it's going.
And we're not going to skimp on your goodie bags.
Because we get goodie bags. Can we just real quick talk about the goodie bags? We got goodie bags and we got spa bags this year.
Yes.
So that little thing that helps to keep my edges together, we praise God. And just put on your head. And then that little balm that says know your worth.
Deidre Hill says, love the discussion. So sorry I didn't make it, but I'm hoping for 2025.
That's Rev D.
Rev D.
Hey, Rev D.
Marsha's just on here saying everything. Marsha and Sade.
Marsha was our arts and crafts person. She hooked us all up.
That's it for the questions.
Okay. All right. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank all of you for coming out and being a part of this discussion. Our next discussion is going to be even more intimate than this, and we're going to talk about menopause.
I say thank you because things has changed.
We're going to talk about the effects of menopause. But we'll keep you posted on that. But thank you all for tuning in. Go ahead.
Sade says, I miss y'all and watching the kids send help.
Tell her, know your worth.
Marsha said, I'm sweating now.
So we thank you all for tuning in again. Thank you all for being here. We love you all. And just let's say good night to everyone. Thank you for tuning in. And you should be in the room next time.
Please.
Know your worth.
Know your worth.